Coronavirus, Venice Carnival closes as Italy imposes lockdown. Italian officials have cut short the Venice Carnival as they try to control what is now the worst outbreak of the coronavirus in Europe. Authorities in the Veneto region said the event would end later on Sunday, 2 days earlier than scheduled. Italy has by far the highest number of coronavirus cases in Europe, with 130. 3 people have died. Italy has imposed strict quarantine restrictions in 2 northern hotspot regions close to Milan and Venice. About 50,000 people cannot enter or leave several towns in Veneto and Lombardy for the next 2 weeks without special permission. Even outside the zone, many businesses and schools have suspended activities, and sporting events have been cancelled, including several top-flight football matches. What you need to know about the virus. A visual guide to the outbreak. Pregnant nurse propaganda sparks backlash. Are African countries ready? Elsewhere, authorities in South Korea and Iran are battling to control rising numbers of infections. South Korea has raised its coronavirus alert to the highest level. The new strain of coronavirus, which originated last year in Hubei province in China, causes a respiratory disease called COVID-19. China has seen more than 76,000 infections and 2,442 deaths. The virus has since spread to at least 11 other countries. What is happening in Italy? Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte announced on Saturday that extraordinary measures would come into force to try to stem the rising number of coronavirus cases. He said the quarantine restrictions could last for weeks. Police, and if necessary the armed forces, will have the authority to ensure the regulations are enforced. Angelo Borelli, the head of Italy's Civil Protection Department, told reporters that 88 of the confirmed cases were in Lombardy, with 24 in Veneto with others in Monte, Emilia-Romagna and Lazio. Officials reported a 3rd death on Sunday, an elderly woman from the town of Crema suffering from cancer. Italian officials say they are still trying to trace the source of the outbreak. Suspicions initially fell on a businessman who had returned to Lombardy from China, but he has tested negative, Italian media reported. The Venice Carnival had been due to close on Tuesday, but regional president Luca Zaia told Sky TG24 television on Sunday that it would be suspended, along with other events, in a bid to combat the virus. From this evening, we plan to stop Carnival and all sporting activities until 1 March, he said. The government will raise the alert level to the highest level according to experts' recommendations, Mr. Moon said. Health officials revealed a further leap in the number of coronavirus cases, with a cluster of infections linked to a hospital and to a religious group near the southeastern city of Daegu. South Korean sect identified as coronavirus hotbed. The 6th death was confirmed at the Denam Hospital, in Gyeongdo, which treats the elderly and people with mental health issues. The hospital has seen more than 110 people infected, including 9 medical staff. My phone kept screeching at me as we approached Daegu. Several emergency alert messages flashed up on it. It's an annoying and alarming sound, but it can be useful. The messages tell you where a nearby confirmed coronavirus patient has been and at what time. They're incredibly detailed. It has times, dates, exact locations. For instance, one patient was in a Korean pool hall until 1:30 am. We were shown one of the newly designated coronavirus hospitals. Dozens of ambulances were lined up outside, being sprayed with disinfectant. In each one was a patient with coronavirus waiting to be admitted. They are kept inside a plastic tunnel and transferred by staff who are head to toe in white protective clothing. Medics and staff rush in and out of the crisis center, prioritizing patients who need the most care. The majority of patients in hospital have mild symptoms. Chi-Hum Cho, the director of the Kaimyung University Dongsan Hospital, told me he hoped they could get this outbreak under control in the next week. But he knows a lot will depend on how far it has spread. As you head outside, the streets of South Korea's 4th largest city feel almost abandoned. 1 or 2 people, with their heads down and mask on, walk purposefully past the shuttered shops. Most appear to be staying indoors. One of the region's leading jewelry stores still had 50 hopeful staff sitting at their counters. A couple of them told me how worried they were about this virus spreading, mostly for their elderly parents or young children. They don't have the hospital director's confidence that this will be under control soon. Of the 169 new cases announced in South Korea on Sunday, 95 of them are linked to a Christian sect in Daegu called the Shincheonji Church of Jesus. The Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, KCDC, said. The total number of cases connected to the church stands at 329. Iran said on Sunday it had 43 confirmed cases of the virus, most of them in the holy city of Qom. 8 of those infected have died, the highest number of deaths outside China. Iraq, Pakistan, Armenia and Turkey have closed their borders with Iran, and Afghanistan has suspended air and road travel to and from Iran. In the UK, 4 passengers recently returned from quarantine on the Diamond Princess have tested positive for the virus. On Sunday, China's President Xi Jinping described the outbreak as the largest public health emergency in the country's recent history. He acknowledged shortcomings in China's response and said lessons must be learned. On Saturday, Chinese authorities reported a decrease in the rate of deaths and new cases of the coronavirus. But outside China, cases with no clear link to that country or other confirmed cases continue to rise, prompting concern from the World Health Organization, WHO. The head of the WHO, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, said the greatest concern now was countries with weaker health systems, particularly